Word was with God, and the Word was God. In him was life, and the life was the light of men.
The dominion mandate is inside. That's why the Bible says, greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. You carry God's image. Discover who you are and shake off that ignorance. I confer the blessing on your life today. I confer your mighty hand of blessing upon their lives.
Welcome to Expand Your World with Pastor David Ogbueli.
I have a very simple, revelation the Lord shared that blessed my heart. I want to share with you Genesis chapter 1 verse 26. Do you have scripture? Okay, that would be nice. Beautiful, verse 26. And God said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea. Genesis chapter 5, verse 3. Thank you. Chapter 5, verse 3. And Adam lived 130 years and begat a son in his own likeness, after his image, and called his name Seth. This is why all of mankind, every human being, is born in a fallen state. Because Adam waited for 130 years before having children. There is a gentleman that did some calculation for me and proved to me that Adam has lived about 90 years before he had Cain. It was showing me, even though I can't prove it, so I will not say it authoritatively, but it was showing me that Adam has lived for 90 years on earth before he fell. If he had children before falling, before he ate the forbidden fruit, God would not have needed to send his son from heaven to come and die for us. Because from the lineage that he had before the fall, we can find a sacrificial lamb to put on the altar for man's redemption. The Bible said when God needed to save man, the reason he could not find, his eyes searched, but he couldn't find one righteous man, is because all of us came from the fallen man. Adam gave birth to Seth in his own likeness, not in the likeness of God that he received. So what I want to share with you today is called the reflection principle. The reflection principle is what we see every time you put an image before a mirror. Okay, I see small mirrors there, but it's all right. If you put a mirror here, and then you go before the mirror, what does the mirror throw back to you? Exactly your own image. Every time I go to the mirror, I see myself. So God made man in his image. The way that man in the mirror is a reflection of the one in front of it, that's how man is a reflection of God. Why did God create the law of reflection? He created it primarily because he wants man to reflect his glory on the earth. The dream of the Almighty God is that the earth will be filled with the knowledge of his glory like the water covers the sea. God wants the whole earth to be filled with his glory. He wants the earth to be filled with righteousness. So after creating the animals, the trees, the vegetation, he created us to become the mirror that reflects his image on earth. Put in another way, Jesus said, if you have seen me, you have seen my Father. He was talking about the law of reflection. And if you want to know what God looks like, watch me. Jesus was the express image of God the Father. It was God in action, or God in the flesh. If you wanted to know how God thinks, look at how Jesus thinks. If you want to know how God talks, look at how Jesus speaks. If you want to know what God will do in a particular situation, ask yourself, what will Jesus do in that situation? But then, the law of reflection goes beyond Jesus to us. God made us in his image. He created us to be a reflection of himself. So, that question, we always, when I was growing up in the faith, we have this question, what will Jesus do? That question should be a constant question for us. Because I'm the image of the Almighty God, I should always ask myself, what will God say in this situation? What will God do if he's in this situation? If you're having a challenge with your wife, ask yourself, if Jesus is the one facing this situation, what will he do? And then go ahead and do exactly what Jesus will do in that particular situation. Can I hear you say amen? Okay. You have some items that's why the technology that the Son of God used to speak to 5,000 must be something else. But I'm trying to address a couple of hundred. 5,000 people. Okay, let's try that. It is not really enough, I'll come down. Amen. Can you hear me? Yes. Beautiful. Now, let's lay the foundation for this. Then I will show you one or two applications, and that will be it. The principle of the law of reflection is this. God creates everything in pairs, in twos. Everything. There is no aspect of creation I will not find the law of reflection. This is what God does. He creates a principal object and fills that object with glory. Then he creates a secondary object to reflect the glory of the first. If the two align themselves, the two will be filled with glory. Genesis chapter 1 verse 14. Look at an example of that. Verse 14. And God said, let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night. And he gave all the functions of this light bearer. Then verse 15. Let them be for lights in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth. There are actually 5 functions designed for the sun and the moon and all that. Verse 16. And watch this. And God made what? 2 great lights. The greater light to rule the day. The lesser light to do what? And then he made the stars also. God creates everything in pairs. He made the sun and filled it with the glory of illumination. Light. Then he made the moon, but the moon does not generate light. So God made the moon to walk in relationship with the sun in such a way that when the sun shines the light, the moon acts like a mirror to reflect it into the night. So the moon has light through its relationship with the sun. So that the sun can rule the day and the moon will rule the night, and the two of them combining their influence will have complete dominion over both day and night. What God was doing here is that he was helping the sun to rule over the night through the moon. First Corinthians 11 verse 6. You will see another one. Okay, give me verse 7 to the point, you know. You're trying to take one. A man, we're talking about the man and the woman now. Why did God make us in pairs, men and female? The law of reflection. A man indeed ought not to cover his head, for as much as he is the image and glory of God. I think I showed you that in Genesis chapter 1. He created man in his image to reflect God's glory. What about the woman? But the woman is what? The glory of the man. The woman is made in the image of man to reflect the glory of her husband. Is that your husband? This is how the law of reflection works. If you want to know the character of a man, look at his wife. If a man is kind, the first person he will show it to will be his wife. Because the wife is a mirror. The wife is a mirror. The primary thing that mirror reveals is not necessarily God, even though men and women reveal God's glory. But the primary thing a woman reveals is the man in her life. If you're a dictator, I can tell by looking at your wife. You know the impression we left when we came here the first time? Pastor Sarah has never gotten over you. Because we met the happiest people on earth. You can't meet her anywhere. She is always so happy. She is always joyful. She is always, that automatically tells me she is married to a man of God that walks in the spirit. Because even if a woman is a happy person, the man in her life can make her a sad person. A woman is a mirror designed to reflect the character of the relationship she is involved in. Let me give you in another way. You know, because it has the other side. The other side is, if I also see an unhappy man, a man that is not, it tells me the quality of mirror that she has. The woman in his life is not reflecting his glory. So, you know, it's a vice versa. Just like you can see me as a reflection of God's glory, but I can also be seen as a disappointment to God because I'm not in my proper position. There's what is called inside the angle of reflection. There is a position the moon takes in relationship with the sun that allows the moon to receive the light of the sun, and so the moon can reflect it into the earth. If the moon shifts from that position, first of all, she goes dark. It's what is called the law of eclipse in teaching the principle of reflection. Anytime you go and start blocking the glory of the one you're supposed to be reflecting, you cause an eclipse. What happens is that people will not be able to see the sun, and people will see a distorted image of you. That angle of relationship with your principal is what is called submission. Everyone says submission. If you see a woman that is not carrying the beauty of her husband, what she is missing is submission. That's why the glory cannot reflect. If you want to know what Adam did that made Adam fall from glory, Psalm 8 said when God created man, he crowned him with glory and honor. That word, your pastor, you know, he says it all the time. Glory. That word is loaded. I think that word and hallelujah should be constant in our mouth as believers. It's loaded. That's what God created us. He created us and filled us with his glory to an overflowing, that creation will see God through us. Adam fell from glory. All have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. How? By shifting from his position of submission. You shall not eat that fruit. The day you eat it, you die. And stepped into a position of rebellion. When he changed angle, Adam caused an eclipse in creation. Darkness fell on the whole creation. And the darkness did not only fall on the human family, darkness fell on creation. Sometimes that shifting of angle, taking the angle that does not work out God's plan, you see assistant pastors doing it to their senior pastors. Sometimes you see a wife doing it to the husband. Sometimes you see children doing it to the parents. Let me give you, for example, 7 illustrations of the law of reflection. The earth and the heaven. God created the heaven, he created the earth. The earth was created to reflect the glory of the heaven. The earth is a mirror image of heaven. Look at the man and the woman. The woman was created to reflect the glory of the man she falls in love with. She marries. You don't know, this thing is so powerful that I've seen. And somebody was saying that about 2 of you. But I will leave that comment, because it works so powerful. And you see people from 2 different backgrounds marry after a while. People start saying, you look alike. You look like brothers and sisters. It's the law of reflection. The mirror principle is working. But that is not even the way God planned it to work. It's not necessarily the physical look. It is the reflection of how your husband thinks, reflection of your husband's vision, reflection of your husband's values. Reflection of what that man stands for. Yes, there were a few times in the Bible, like Moses, where he reflected the glory of God to the point that it was physical. But Jesus was not walking about 3.5 years carrying physical light on his face so that we'll know that he is the image of the Father. No, it's the reflection of the character of God, the reflection of the vision of his Father. Every time you see him, he said, I came not to do my own will, but what? The will of him that sent me. What is he doing? That angle of position. That's what Adam should have done. And there would not have been a fall. He said, I came not to do my own will, but to the will of him that sent me. I have a meat to eat. He said, what is the meat? He said, it's to finish the work of him that sent me. Look at the heaven and the earth. Look at man and his wife. Then God made man as a reflection of himself. And when we fell and lost that positioning, and we didn't know how to manifest God on the earth, God sent Jesus as an express image of himself. And he showed us how a man is supposed to relate to his father. A son is a reflection of his father. Children are meant to reflect the glory of their father, or their parents, if you will. Let me show you 3 applications. There are so many applications of the law of reflection. I will show you 3 applications and I will leave it there. The first application is in marriage. God did not create submission to make women less than men. Women are not less than the men. Men are not better than women. He made it so that the two working together can have dominion. What the moon is to the sun is what a man's wife is to him. As a matter of fact, marriage gives you an aircraft with 2 engines. So you have a backup engine. You know, when an aircraft has only 1 engine and is flying across the Atlantic Ocean and that engine develops fault, what is it going to do? It's going to crash everybody. A pastor is a pilot flying an aircraft with all the members of the church as passengers. So God gives the pastor co-pilots. Apart from his wife, which is number 1, the most critical, he gives the pastor what is called the ministry team. In the Bible, we call it a presbytery. A team of anointed men and women. But the principle is that their job is to assist the set man to get this aircraft to its destination and get every passenger safely. For them to position themselves right and do their job like they should, they must obey the law of reflection. If you see the strongest ministries that have longevity as well as impact, they have learned this secret. I'll come back to marriage, but let me show you 2 examples in ministry. Jesus and John the Baptist. I told you that God creates everything in pairs. In the book of Malachi, the last chapter, Malachi was prophesying about the coming of the Messiah. And he said, this is how you will know at the time, because there was 400 years silence before Jesus showed up. He said, these are the 2 signs. If you see this, you know that it's time for the Messiah. The Messiah has come. He said the first sign will not be the Messiah, but it will be his forerunner. He said, I will send you Elijah the prophet before the coming of the Lord, before the great and the terrible day of the Lord. And he said, when he comes, this is what he will do. He will restore the heart of the fathers to the children to the fatherless. I smite the head with a curse. He was prophesying the coming of John the Baptist. And then Malachi went ahead. He said, after Elijah has shown up, then you are going to see the Son of Righteousness show up. And this is how you know that he is the one. He will come with healing in his wings. When miracles of healing break out everywhere in the streets of Jerusalem and Galilee, everywhere he goes, watch him, he is the one. But watch the one that comes and is making a way for him, preparing the people. That one is Elijah. You know John coming in the anointing of Elijah, not reincarnation. Why is it that God sent a team to redeem the world? Why not just one person? God never sends anything as unity. He sends it as a team. He creates a leader. He creates a team of leaders to reflect the glory of that leader. The job of the leader is to reflect the glory of the one that called him the Lord, but he gives him a team to reflect the glory of that leader so that the ministry will be established. That was why God did not go to the soil and make 2 bodies, one female, one male, and then he breathed on both of them. No, he made the one first. That is the sun. And after making the sun, he pulls a rib out of it to make the moon. Because you cannot have 2 suns in one solar system. You can have many planets. There are children. You have one son. Paul will write to the church in Corinth and say, you may have many instructors. I can come to help your pastor with the work God has given him. I can come to add, but you don't have many fathers, you only have one. I don't care how many people open churches in Dubai. You should know this is where God has planted you. This is where I belong. This is the man of God he has placed in my life. The Bible says God sets the solitary in families. to train our people this way. Because, back home, with all kinds of things going on, there's a lot of confusion there. And if they are not trained, because I know, when people are not trained, they go, one day they come back with one wound to carry one spiritual disease. And usually when they run up and down, they come back with that wound, they run back to their pastor. That you have messed up the work, the good work God is doing in your life. Yes, there are many instructors. You can turn on TV, see some great instructors. For example, Doug has sent his kids abroad for training. So my doctors, to become a doctor, you have been taught by many professors. You can have many professors. They are transcendent, but you don't have many fathers. You don't have. God gives every man a giant mirror reflecting God into your life. It gives you a voice into your life. Somebody said to me, okay, Pastor, he said, according to the law of reflection, God creates the principal object, then he creates another one to reflect his glory. But looking at John and Jesus, it looks like John was the one baptizing Jesus. I said, no, you're making a mistake. While the children were in the womb, they met. The mother carrying Jesus went to visit the mother of John. And when that encounter occurred, Jesus transferred the Holy Ghost to the one that was in the womb. Jesus has baptized John into it. But in terms of the role that to play here, John was supposed to be a forerunner. A forerunner goes ahead of you. Your pastor can send you to Abu Dhabi to plant a new church, and you go ahead of him. He might come 8 months later. He might come 2 years later. You will see it in the Bible where Jesus sent his disciples 2 by 2. And then the job of the forerunner, he clears the ground, prepares the place, raises the people. And the job of the forerunner is not to point the people to himself. According to John, he said, I must decrease. And what will happen? A lot of people don't understand it. They don't understand it. But the reward of the law of reflection every time it's obeyed is that the two powers will have dominion. According to Jesus, he said of all the prophets, if you ask the Muslims, they say the first prophet was Adam, then Noah, and then they started counting all of them. So if you want to count like that, John the Baptist was the greatest. According to the Bible, the first revealed prophet, the first man God called a prophet with his mouth was Abraham. When they went from nations to nations, he rebuked kings for their sake and said, touch not my anointed and do my prophet no harm. There was even a king that tried to take Abraham's wife. God talked to him by himself. He said, return that man's wife and let him pray for you, for he is a prophet. But the scripture also inferred that somebody like Enoch was a prophet because he prophesied, about the coming of the Lord. Many of those men, that are men of God that are traced in his, carried that mantle on their lives. But watch, Jesus said of all the prophets ever born, John was the greatest. Even though the person, the least in the kingdom of God was greater than him, but he was greater than all the men in the Old Testament. Why? He was the one that reflected the glory of the Messiah. All the other one prophesied, but he was the one to introduce him to Israel. The Bible said that through him all men will believe. I will show you one that is more serious. Exodus chapter 7. I want you to see this. That's Moses. Moses has been called by God, and the Lord said to him, put the law of reflection into motion in the ministry of Moses. Verse 1, Exodus chapter 7 verse 1. Look at what the Lord said here. The Lord said to Moses, see, I have made thee a God to Pharaoh. What about Aaron? He said, Aaron thy brother shall be what? Your prophet. We don't understand that. God sends people in pairs. He sent the womb, he sent his wife alongside. But that's one side of the reflection principle in ministry. The other side is that he sent a team of ministers alongside. If they take the angle of reflection and not try everybody to be the head, everybody to be the whatever, if they take that angle, what you will notice is that the same anointing on him will come upon all those pastors. I'll show it to you. Verse 2. You shall speak all that I command you, and Aaron thy brother shall speak to Pharaoh. You know, many of you know the story that Moses was a stammerer. Every time they go to address the people of Israel, it's not Moses that speaks. Because a 30-minute sermon will take him 3 hours. Every time they go to see Pharaoh, it's not Moses that speaks. It's Aaron. But according to the Lord, the job of Moses is to teach Aaron everything Moses has received from the Lord. Then the job of Aaron is to speak to Pharaoh or to speak to the children of Israel or any other group that needs to be addressed. Aaron will have to have patience, even if it takes 6 hours, for Moses to stammer all the words out. Then he will document them. Then his job is don't add, don't subtract, just go to Pharaoh, say exactly what Moses would have said if he's the one talking directly. You are not God's prophet, you are Moses' prophet. Moses is God's prophet. Aaron, you are Moses' prophet. That's the law of reflection. Take the message God has given to your pastor. Go to where you work, speak it like you have spoken it. Go to your area, set up a cell group, share the same message the same way the pastor shared it. If you don't know how you share it, buy the tapes, play it again, play it again, play it again. Find a way, get the handout, play it, then go there and share it exactly like he shared it. You know the result that will happen. The anointing will come on that situation just like it will come on him. It carries a heavy prophetic anointing. I said every time I'm listening, he's my friend, yes. But you know, there's a way I listen. I watch once he starts stepping into that thing. Whether he's, you know, because some of us think it's until a minister is on stage and not, it has nothing to do with that. These are gifts and calling of God in men's life. I know the gift he has given me, I function within that, but every gift has a limit. If you don't tap into what God has put in others, you can struggle in an area of your life and struggle until you die. God has not given anybody everything, and he will not, because if he does, you become God. But part of the wisdom is to know, he said, we carry this treasure in earthen vessels. To know the grace. When the man of God stands in his office, he makes a declaration. Don't just say, amen, you know, one of those amen. You don't understand. The man reflects Christ. You respond to the word like you will respond if you understand that it's Jesus that is standing there speaking. And that word will change situations in your life. But beyond that word impacting you, when you leave, you take the same word. Do you know that God said to Elijah, the prophet, to go and anoint 3 people? He was to anoint Elisha as his successor. He was to anoint Hazael as king over Assyria. He was to anoint Jehu as king over Israel. The man went and only anointed a successor. and left the other ones. But God spoke those words. But the difference is that he shared the words without his successor Elisha. So one day, Elisha knew what God said has to happen. He filled his horn with oil and went. Found one of the young men captains that was in the army, Hazael by name, according as God has said it. Poured the oil on him, prophesied the exact word that God said to Elijah, and took off. That guy ended up the king. That anointing was working for Elisha and this second generation. But one day Elisha got up, he looked at one of the sons of the prophets that were with him. You know what he did? He carried the horn of oil and gave it to one of them. He said, run, you will meet a group of captains. Find the one called Jim, take him inside. When he comes inside, tell him, thus said the Lord, this is the word that the Lord. Look at the same word is traveling three generations. He has come to Elijah, he has come to Elisha, now he's going one generation further. And the guy took him, poured the oil on him, and entered the season and took off. That guy becomes king, and he was the one that destroyed Jezebel. How can that anointing still work, even when it was not the original man that heard from God? Because anointing is transferable through the law of reflection. Just like the mirror can reflect light. Human beings are created to reflect God's glory and the glory of the person they submit to. You find a very wise man in business and you go and submit to him or make him your friend. But if you make him your friend and you treat him like equal, you will not get his wisdom. If you take a position of teachability is meekness. You take a position of meekness. Even though you're my friend, you are my mentor as far as business is concerned. I want you to teach me. I want you to coach me. I want you to mentor me. After a while, you will grow to his level of wisdom. You will start making money like that man. The Bible said, he that walketh with a wise man shall be wise. The companion of fools shall be destroyed. The law of reflection works even in transfer of wisdom. But if you go to him, you argue with him. Instead of, being whatever, you take the position of arrogance, like Lucifer tried to take in heaven. You try to cause eclipse. You try to show him that you know too much. The wisdom he has will not benefit you. At the end of the day, you might even become twice fool. I hope the words are not too harsh. No, you see, he said, look at what he said. Thou shalt speak all that I command thee, and Aaron your brother shall speak unto Pharaoh, that he send the children of Israel out of his land. Go on, the next verse. And I will harden Pharaoh's heart and multiply my signs and wonders in the land of Egypt. I want to find out who is doing the signs and wonders. Let's find out. The next verse. The next verse. When I finish the signs and wonders, the Egyptians will know that I am the Lord. The next verse. Okay, Moses and Aaron did as the Lord commanded them, so did they. What did he command them? Moses, your job is to hear from me, bring the word. Aaron, your job is to hear from Moses, take the message and spread it. If we all do it, we will take over the Bible. If you become a reflection of your past, if you see how powerful this thing is, if you see how powerful it is, watch the result. They did as the Lord commanded them, verse 7. And Moses was 80 years old and Aaron was 83 years old when they spake to Pharaoh. Who was older? Aaron was older. The law has no respect for age. It's not about age. And verse 8. And the Lord spake to Moses and unto Aaron, saying, when Pharaoh shall speak unto you, saying, show a miracle, then thou shalt say to Aaron, take the rod, cast it before Pharaoh, and what will happen? he shall become a serpent. When you watch the movie, The Prince of Egypt, the movie is not correct. The movie shows Moses doing the miracles. It was the one that was doing most of the miracles. I taught our pastors, if you understand the law of reflection, the same anointing on me will rest on you. And that's what is happening. It's causing the multiplication of ministry gifts. You will start seeing the same results. And watch what happened. Verse 10. And Moses and Aaron waiting unto Pharaoh. They did so as the Lord commanded them. Then watch. And Aaron did what? Cast down his rod before Pharaoh, before his servant, and he became what? A serpent. Watch what happened. Verse 11. Then Pharaoh also called his wise men and the sorcerers. Now the magicians of Egypt, they did also in like manner with their enchantment. But look at verse 12. They cast down every man his rod. They became serpent. But what is the conclusion? But Aaron's rod did what? Swallowed up the rod. Remember that rod was called the rod of Moses. Was Aaron there when Moses had an encounter with God? No. Was he there when God commissioned Moses? No. Were you there when God was talking to your pastor and sending him? No. Were you there when he was going through the wilderness, selling off all his things? No. But after all that trial, a cooked soup is now ready. By the law of reflection, you can carry the same anointing on him as if you were the one that had the encounter. Even if this is the only example I show you today, I think it will be enough. Because it applies to business, it applies to marriage, it applies to every area. But even if this is the only one we are going to sink in, Exodus chapter 4 verse 26, I'll show you another side of it and then I'll tidy it up. Verse 16. Pick it from 15, maybe that will help us make sense. Okay, from 14. Okay, the Lord, when Moses was having an encounter with the Lord, Moses said, I cannot speak. I'm a stammerer. So God was angry with him, and the Lord said, okay, I will give you somebody. Is not Aaron the Levite your brother? I know that he can speak well. He's an orator. Maybe you have gift of communication. The key is knowing that the revelation doesn't come for you. Behold, he cometh forth to meet thee. When he seeth thee, he will be glad in his heart. And that's what happens. The first time you meet the ministry God has sent you to, there is that stirring in your heart. You fall in love with the ministry. You fall in love with the pastor. You love the place. The impact on your life is so high. But if you are not taught the law of reflection, after a while, you get used to it. After a while, the same person starts murmuring and complaining. If you are not taught it, after a while, one of the persons that was in the group, her name was Miriam. He said, so Moses, you hear from God, I also hear from God. What is that? God struck her with leprosy to warn her, you don't do that in the kingdom. There is a divine order in the kingdom. Okay, the next verse. Now look at the job of Moses. Thou shalt speak unto him and put words in his mouth. This is Aaron. What Moses is to do to Aaron. You are Aaron's prophet. But Aaron will now speak to Pharaoh. Now, thou shalt speak unto him and put words in his mouth. And look at the next line. And I will be with thy mouth and with what? His mouth. You want the anointing on your pastor's mouth to be on your mouth. The key is the anointing of every ministry is found in two places. It's found in the message and in the messenger. Can I say it again? The anointing of every ministry is hidden in two places. It's found in the message and in the messenger. If you take the same words that Moses speaks, the same anointing that is on his mouth will be on your mouth. The same miracles that back his ministry will start backing your ministry. Hey, oh, how many of you can get this? He said, I'm not strong in prayer. I'm not, Pastor, I wish I could grow like you. The secret, take his messages. Start soaking it. Start meditating on it. Start soaking it. And we're going to challenge the church. If we don't have a recording system for the message, let's get it. The pastor's message must not be allowed to fall to the ground. It should be captured. People should play it in their cars. People should even use it as their phone, answering phone. Maybe where he's saying, like today now, he's declaring long life. You're going to see your children. You make it your ringtone. When somebody calls you, you start hearing it. You're going to see your children. There is not enough demons in hell to kill a man like that. The words I speak unto you, Jesus said, they are spirit and they are life. The words, anointed words, are not ordinary words. They shape human destinies. The second place the anointing of every ministry is found is in the vessel, the messenger. The one in the message, you can extract it by hearing, by meditation. The one in the messenger, you extract it by honoring the man. When you give him, when you honor, and he blesses you, something, there is what you call prophetic honor. That thing is transferred. There is a prophetic mantle that comes over you. There are people the devil cannot touch. They are under prophetic covering. But there are people that sit in ministries from January to December. They never honor the ministry that has fed them. They don't honor the ministry that has brought them up. That the same way we were told just now, honor your father and mother. Mommy, the same law applies in the spiritual. The church is the spiritual family, just like we have the natural one. Certain people coming into ministry like babies when you give birth, all the mothers said no. They suck the breast of the pastor. The pastor's breast used to be very filled up. They will suck it, suck revelation, suck blessings, suck prayer, all the problems. Anytime they have problem, pastor, counseling, they go. The moment they grow, the business prospers. They abandon the man and leave the breast flattened. And God put a law of reciprocity that they are supposed to replenish what they sucked. And that way, he said the priest will cause the blessing to rest upon your house. The Lord taught me, he said, anytime you're blessing somebody and he's no more working, the same person, each time you pronounce his business explodes, you pronounce something, his family explodes, and now you pronounce it's not working. The anointing is returning back to you. It means the law of honor has been violated. Because it is a cycle, it's not a halfway thing. This rain that fall upon us to bless the earth first evaporated. The earth sowed the seed of evaporation, and we have got the harvest of rainfall. It's a cycle. Everything in life is created in cycle. Even our movement, when you make one step, you have only done half a circle. You do the other one, you have completed one cycle. So the person riding on a motorcycle or a bicycle or a car is covering distance by completing cycles. Giving is half cycle, receiving is the other half. So if you receive first, it's your turn to give, or you will stop the cycle of receiving. But if you give first, it's your turn to receive. That is how the thing goes. And it's the same principle in ministry. You minister earthly things to you, you minister back. You minister spiritual things to you, you minister back carnal things. That way, you are able to sustain the kingdom of God on earth. You put the words in his mouth. If he speaks the same words, then I will be with his mouth, just like I'm with your mouth. When he speaks, miracles will happen, just like it will happen if Moses speaks. You can see the rod was the rod of Moses, but right now, God called it the rod of Aaron. And the rod of Aaron swallowed the rods of the magicians. You find that your authority will start burning. Your authority will start bearing fruit. And it will start overruling the authority of demonic powers. In conclusion, you will check the reason the Spirit of Christ works for us as the church is that the Scripture teaches us to take his message, his mandate, the Great Commission, and don't declare it. If you fabricate your own gospel, you have to fabricate your own anointing. What the Spirit anoints is the word. He said, and the Lord was working with them, confirming the word with signs and wonders. If we soak the words of Jesus and fill our heart with it, when we declare it, the same anointing on the head will function when we declare. Because the anointing is in two locations. It's in the word. He said the words that come to you, they are spirit. The other one is that it's in the vessel. What the vessel carries can be transferred by laying on hands or by pronouncement. Or what is in the message can be assimilated through hearing and through meditation. Don't let the words of your pastor be light in your ear. Watch. No, even when God raised the son of Moses, that is his servant, to take his place in ministry, you know what the Lord told him? He said, remember the words that Moses, my servant, has taught you. Don't deviate from it to the left or to the right. Then look at the promise he gave him. If you stay with the message, just like I said it to Aaron, then he said, as I was with Moses, so will I be with you. No one will be able to stand before you all the days of your life. If your pastor sends you to India, don't go there and start doing your own thing. They send you to Abu Dhabi, just your small house fellowship. Go and try what I'm telling you. You will know that it's God that sent me to perform. Go and try. Start just a small house fellowship. It doesn't matter how big you are, whether you are still new in the faith. You live in an area that this ministry is. Start a small house fellowship. Start bringing your neighbors. If your fellowship is on Thursday, let's assume in the evening. Within the week, get your pastor's name, get your notebook. That's why when he's talking, he shouldn't just be. He should be writing. He should be taking note of key things that the Holy Spirit is saying. Get those things, look at it again, meditate on it, soak it into your spirit. Go there and share it. Don't go and start fabricating. You go here and bring TDJs, you go here. You are like a woman committing adultery. You pollute your spiritual womb. Is somebody hearing what I'm saying? Take your pastor's message. You want to be fruitful spiritually. And then when you get to the house fellowship, share it. You know what you're going to see? The same grace on his life. The same anointing. You pray for people, things will start happening in their lives. When the sun and the moon obey the law of reflection, the moon will rule the day The sun will rule the day, and the moon will what? Rule the night. Remember, this place is not your field of dominion. This place is day. Go and find the night. It's another location somewhere in Dubai. On Sunday, you come here to collect light. Okay, no, you don't do Sunday, Friday. You come here to collect light. When there are trainings, you come to collect light. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Saturday, Sunday. You go somewhere else and reflect the light. And as the light shines, God will start giving you dominion. Friday, you carry all the people you have converted. You carry them to service. After a while, you see that God has accomplished his purpose. He will start blessing your personal life just as he blesses the prophet he has blessed in your life. May God bless you.